So one game I've been playing quite religiously since launch has been Zenless Zone Zero. The combat, the character interactions, the pools, new Eridu as a world, it's all stuff for me personally that keeps me coming back. I feel the need to mention this because I already got the Platinum trophy a while back, so unfortunately I can't bring that Platinum playthrough to you guys, but I can cover every new trophy update the game gets, and that's essentially what this video is. We're going to be unlocking every trophy that came with the 2.0 update, but not just that, because this is a gacha game, I'm also going to be throwing my pools into the overall trophy experience, and that is exactly where we're going to start. So I really wanted the new Void Hunter Yixuan. I'd already pulled for the first Void Hunter Miyabi with her signature W engine and wanted to do the same with Yixuan. And we was off to a good start with the pulls. My first 20 pulls, I pulled this character called Palkara from the previous update. I'd already pulled for Palkara, but for the uninitiated, if you already own a character and pull a duplicate, you can mindscape them 6 times to make them stronger. Moving on, I got another new character that came with this update, an A-rank panda called Pan Yin Hu, and you're gonna have to forgive me on the pronunciations for some of these Mandarin names, but shoddy pronunciation aside, this was awesome for me because if I did pull for Yixuan, I wanted to pair these two together. I wasn't sure who I wanted for my third slot. That's one of the many things I love about Zenless Zone Zero, by the way. Experimented with team compositions. You can get teams that really click, teams that kind of click, and then of course teams that just do not get the best out of each other. Anyway, after 40 pulls, we not only got another Palkara, but we also got what I'd been saving for. Ladies and gentlemen, S-rank Void Hunter Agent Yixuan.
I can help ease your worries and resolve your troubles, ward off misfortune and disaster.
And that is not all. Because 2.0 is basically the anniversary for Zenless Zone Zero, Hoyoverse gave us an anniversary gift. We get to pick any launch S-rank agent minus Ellen Jo, as she was the game's first ever banner. And we also get a choice of any S-rank launch W engine. Now this is where you kinda get to see how much of a simping little lucky bang out that I am for this game. I'm not joking, my Zenless account is quite stacked. As a mostly free to play player, I've spent a grand total of $4.99 on this game, and that was mostly because I felt guilty after seeing how many hours I'd logged in. So I got the monthly pass to give a little something back. I mean, let's be real, not that Hoyo needs it. The bank that they make from some of these wows is genuinely terrifying. Anyway, the only launch agent luck hadn't yet gifted me was Rena. So yeah, we got Rena. I'd already pulled for her W engine around the game's launch time, but I didn't have anyone to use it on. Definitely a W for me, I now have every launch character. Next, we pull for the new Bangboo. And again, for those unfamiliar with Zenless Zone Zero, aside from your team of 3 agents, the Bangboo act as a sort of fourth companion that fight in the background. Although we can chain the Bangboo into our attacks, and you'll be surprised how much extra little damage these things pull off. I wanted to pair this Bangboo called Belian, I think that's how you pronounce it, with the other 2 characters I pulled for Yixuan and Pan Yin Hu. And because the Bangboo use an entirely different pool currency, I'd luckily already had a few pools saved up, and we got Belian in about 30 pools. And this next set of pools will be the last for the main pools. There will be a few more later, but for now I wanted to go for Yixuan's signature engine. I've not seen a case yet where it makes sense not to use the character's signature weapon, and in the case of Void Hunters, they are canonically the strongest characters to exist within Zenless Zone Zero's world. And again, for those not familiar with Zenless Zone Zero's lore, there are 7 Void Hunters in this game, and as of update 2.0, we currently have 2 of them, Miyabi and the current banner Yixuan. Anyway, so en route to getting Yixuan's signature, we got a load of A-rank W engines, a bulky amount actually, which was good though because they were Palkara and Pan Yin Hu's signature engines. But saving the best for last, we actually got Yixuan's signature engine. All in all, I'd say a pretty good pull session for 2.0. Alright, moving on to the trophies now. The first thing we needed to do was actually initiate the story for where these trophies took place. This involved a cutscene and also getting some new outfits for our protagonists Wise and Bell. I personally use Wise. Shortly after that, we arrive in the new biome, and I'm probably going to butcher this pronunciation as well, Phylum Heights. Yeah, no idea on some of these pronunciations, forgive me. So we walk around exploring for a little bit, and yo, is my man wearing the Bruce Lee yellow jumpsuit from Game of Death. His name is even Lee, and oh my days, he did the iconic flick as well. Anyway, after all that, we end up in the Hollow, and this is the last you're going to hear me say for the uninitiated. Hollows are alternate dimensions that appear out of thin air, swallowing everything they touch. Exposure to the interior of a hollow can cause either corruption in humans, leading to physical and mental deterioration, and eventually transformation into dangerous creatures called ethereals, which is pretty much what we fight. So shortly after battling our way through some of these ethereals, we get introduced to a new mechanic called Perception Technique. And upon activation of this Perception Technique, we pop our first trophy of the 2.0 update. That took a bit to get there, but we got there in the end. So after an amazing cutscene showing what an absolute selfless waifu Yixuan is, and I'm not going to show too much of the cutscenes in this video because I want you to obviously go and experience it yourself. But we get introduced to this restoration minigame called the Suibian Temple Management. And I'm just going to put it out there. I personally hated this minigame because it completely de-optimized the entire game with severe frame drops that bled out into the combat because it's data-based, which meant it was passively on in the background. That, and I also just didn't find it very fun. But there is a trophy tied to this, which we don't get now, but it was introduced early on, so I figured I'd do the same. When we continue the story, however, we do get a gold trophy, which was for simply finishing the 2.0 main story mission. So quickly moving on, and I had to wait a few days for these next two trophies. They were tied to a permanent event that wasn't yet live. This event and minigame, I guess you could say, was actually something I did enjoy. It's called Gravitational Attraction, which basically involves taking characters on dates to the cinema. And unlike the Suibian Temple minigame, I actually love this event. One, because I'm a Yakuza fan and I think that's where they got their inspiration for this event. And two, I love the characters of Zenless Zone Zero. Getting to take some of my favorites like Miyabi or Caesar on dates and learning more about their characters through comedic or heartfelt dialogue was isn't there an existing meme for this? Oh yeah, absolute cinema. I couldn't resist that. If you know, you know. So the first trophy was just for reaching a Gravity Soulmate movie review with 10 friends. And the second trophy was for reaching an S+ rating in 6 Light and Shadow exclusive stages. I just want to say as well, I'm looking so forward to when they hopefully add more characters to this cinema event. I found it so endearing. I just want more of it. Alright, so back to a couple more pulls. So I wanted to get Yixuan to M1, which stands for Mindscape 1. It's basically the duplicates that I mentioned earlier. And I managed to get Panyin-Hu to M6, so he's basically maxed out. But here's the bad news, but also kind of good news when it comes full circle. So I decided to go for Yixuan again. However, I lost my 50-50 to Grace. The really upsetting thing for me is that Grace used to be one of my mains in the really early days of Zenless Zone Zero, but the problem these gacha games have is that with every new character release, the older characters become less relevant. This is also known as power creep. It's very real, but don't get me wrong, there are a few characters that have withstood the test of time, but if you look at their roles they play, they're basically support roles. Sokaku and Nicole come to mind, two launch characters who are still rated quite highly in the meta. Digression aside, the next trophy we'll be going for is clearing the Lost Void, specifically Task Force Investigation at EVA Activity 5. So put simply, the higher you put the EVA, the more buffs the enemy get. You have to work on getting a build as you progress through each floor. In essence, it's essentially Zenless Zone Zero's version of what a roguelike is. So we have to reach the last room, beat the boss, and then the trophy will pop. And can I just say, I skipped over most of the rooms, I just got to the boss fight because this video would have been far too long. But I'm not sure if you could tell by the footage, I was testing out some of my new characters that I'd pulled and I was so locked in, having the time of my life. I absolutely loved the combat in this game. Anyway, here's the trophy popping. Alright, this next trophy, I've already stated how I feel about this temple, so there's going to be a little bit of a low energy shift, I guess you could say. So over the next couple of days off screen, I was slowly chipping away at restoring the temple to its former glory, and here's me just nonchalantly popping the trophy, tied to the temple management minigame without a second care in the world. I'm telling you right now, if it wasn't for the trophy, I wouldn't have even done this for the pool currency. That's how much I just did not care about this temple. It felt so hollow as an overall gaming experience. Ha, hollow. See what I did there? Oh, the irony. Alright, last trophy of the 2.0 update, and this one was severely time gated. I think it was around 20 days or so we had to wait, and the reason for that is because the trophy was for finishing Jufufu's agent story. No idea if I pronounced that right. Jufufu. I'll just say Fufu. But regardless, the problem was the character's banner wasn't live yet, which meant her agent story wasn't available until we could actually pull for her. So after patiently waiting, her agent story finally becomes available. We quickly finish it and pop the last trophy of the 2.0 update. And that is that. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Consider subscribing for more trophy hunting content. I highly recommend you give ZZZ a shot if you're sitting on the fence about it. I mean, I have no idea why you would be sitting on the fence contemplating playing it. It's literally free to download. Or is it?
Give me money, give me money, give me money, give me money, give me money.
Nah, seriously though. Yes, it's free to download, but with any gacha experience, their entire gameplay loop revolves around you logging in. And at that point, we're pretty much talking about the concept of time. And not to get too philosophical, but time isn't exactly something I would personally say we have in abundance, if that makes any sense. I've played a few gacha games and Zenless Zone Zero seems to be the most forgiving, and that's why I continue to play it. Not to mention, I tend to have this habit of moving on to other games when I pop the platinum and I rinse the overall novelty, but Zenless Zone Zero feels like it's constantly refreshing that novelty. Put simply, I love it, and I don't see myself dropping the game anytime soon. Anyway, TED Talk out the way. Take care everyone, and I'll catch you in the next trophy hunting video.